Hello, everybody. This is Go After Your Passion Live. I'm Teresa Crowley, and my special guest star that I have promoted is Marlo Ellis. A little bit about Marlo. The reason I met Marlo was I entered a contest and went to Kelowna. You guys are familiar with that. And in Kelowna, Chantal Adams put together this great Center Stage Live. She also put together a Shine contest, and I got to speak on stage at Shine.
Yes.
And so I got to meet a lot of people there, and Marlo was one of them. And she got up and gave her badass conversation. And I've been following her on Facebook with what she's been doing since then. And so I thought she would be an excellent person to talk about going after your passion, because of all the people that were in Kelowna, you definitely are one of the most passionate, Marlo.
Oh, thank you. Well, that's good that I stood out. And I love that you called me a star. Can I put that in frames?
Sure.
I love that. That's awesome.
Put in hashtag star.
Hashtag star. First time I've ever called it. I love it. Anyway, thank you so much, Teresa, for having me here on your show. I really love connecting with women. If we want to talk about things that I'm passionate about, it truly is connecting with other women and having this discussion. So thank you so much. I'm really honored to be here.
Well, let's have a little bio. Tell us a little about yourself and what got you to Kelowna, where I met you.
Wow, that's a great question. I'll give you the Coles notes because I don't want to keep everybody for hours and hours. But in 2012, I had a real massive shift in my life. I had just stepped out of 10 years of teaching. I officially retired from teaching, and I had moved into the fitness industry. And I was coming home from living internationally to do the work that I was falling in love with, which was transforming the lives of women physically. I wanted to do that here in my hometown in Thunder Bay, Ontario, Canada. So I moved home in 2011. And in 2012, I really wanted to step into that role of, being a fitness professional, really helping women in my community transform. And I found an incredible, beautiful studio that was going to, that I was going to be able to bring all of my people to and build that business. And that studio belonged to a gentleman. And he invited me in, and of course, as things happened, we fell in love. And after just a few months, things went really south. And for about a year and a half, I lived in a very dark, painful, abusive situation. And it's really the reason that I'm here today. And what happened in that time, I won't give you all the details because it's not really the details that matter. What matters is that in that darkness, through that year and a half of that really painful experience, I was able to come to terms with the woman that I really was, the kind of person that I wanted to be in the future, and what it was that I needed to do in this lifetime. So I was able to extract myself out of that relationship, and I built my own gym, and I was a gym owner for 3 years. And in that 3 years, you want to talk about passion. I met so many women who were incredibly passionate about their lives, but they didn't know where to start. They needed help. They needed somebody to say, here, let me guide you. So I did that for 3 years. But what I started noticing, which is incredible, Teresa, is that in that time, I realized that all of the stuff that goes on with us physically is really a symptom of what's going on with us emotionally, right? And I know that you know that because you talk about that all the time. And so I decided in 2015 to close the sacred doors to my gym that I was so in love with, because I actually knew that I was being called to do work that was different kind of work. It was transformational work, but it was really work from the inside out. And that became my passion, and it is now my passion, my purpose. And so since June of 2015, I'm coming up to my 2-year anniversary, which is really exciting. I have been a freedom coach for women, and my whole platform is to literally help women step into their freedom, as I did, and to launch their lives into the direction that they see it going. And everything that I do now is all, everything that I do serves that one particular purpose, which is really to help women find their voice, step into their freedom, and, live their life unapologetically. So that's what I'm passionate about. So, that's kind of it. That's the Coles Notes version.
Well, that's what I thought when I saw you and I heard you speak. It was just like, talk about someone who wants more for someone else to be empowered. You want to show them the way. You want to give them this empowerment because it's there. You just have to stir the pot a little bit so it bubbles and they know it's there. And you are so good at that.
Oh, well, thank you. But, I really get my energy the energy that I feel, for example, talking to you, I get this from the thought of women stepping successfully into that freedom. I mean, that jacks me up just thinking about that. You know, when I have conversations with women who are struggling, with women who are in pain, I can look deeper than where they are. And I get so excited about the idea that these women are going to actually get to where they want to go because they've made that first step, which is to come to me for help, or to come to me and say, Marlo, what was it that you did that I can do? And then I just share what I know. I just share my experience, you know, and I share the experiences of the other women I've worked with. Right. And so I get so excited about that idea that we all have the capability to create our own freedom, but we have to choose that, right? It's a choice. Right. So I really want to help people make the proper choice.
And I've always been telling people too, that you attract people that you want to be. That if you're the strong one in the room, people are attracted to you because they want to be that way. Well, right. They are that way if they can take that first step just to come see you. They can make, yes. I mean, you're there to give them the painful at times, but other times just a little bit of nudge that they need. And, you know, to know that it's a soft place to fall. It really is. But a lot of times then they soar and they take off and they realize their own strength. So when you were doing this, and I did see online, Marlo Ellis, you had a retreat at Tulum. And so I'm trying to show your Facebook site too. I'm putting that on. I can't do two things at once, but I try.
Okay, no worries. We can put it up later. No, but thank you. Yeah.
And it's running underneath us, and I want people to be able to write down and be able to go and see more of what you've done, because I thought Tulum, not only was I jealous because it was snowing in Denver, probably the only snow that we had was in November, but it looked so gorgeous and so freeing and just a real safe spot.
It really is. And, you know, I love to create environments where women feel safe. And because so much of the time we don't feel safe, and it's such a disconnect, you know, we don't even feel safe with one another. And it's another one of my messages that I'm really working on getting out there, is that we need to become a sisterhood. So, you know, I create these platforms like the Soul Sister Mastermind Retreat in Tulum, which is truly a retreat for women who come in and say, yes, I'm open to creating a sisterhood of soul sisters. You know, I want to connect women to other women, because the more women that are connected, the more power we have. Right. And so for me, it's so important, and it's so logical to say, you know, if we all just come together, we're actually a lot more similar than we think. And the reason that we're not coming together is strictly out of fear. Right. And so breaking down those walls of fear and bringing women into a place like Tulum, where they live in the house together for a week, and they commune together, and they cry together, and they laugh till they cry together, and we dance together, and we sit in silence together, and we hold sacred space for hours at a time. Doing that kind of stuff only builds depth in relationships and in sisterhood. And so I do that solely for the purpose of bringing more women together. And this year I'm having 20 women. Last year I had 10. So now I'm like, okay, now I can double it and I can expand it. If I can get 20 women to link arms, women from all over the world, imagine the impact, right?
Well, so I think it's such a passion. They gain so much from this that they won't even know until years from now.
Right.
That they're going to get so much from the retreat and enjoy it so much and have so many stories. But you're going to look back a few years from now and say, wow, I didn't know then what I know now, but I wouldn't know what I know now if I wasn't back there.
Right. So yeah, if I wasn't there, right?
Yeah, I think it's amazing. It's at first, when you said the badass qualities and you got to be strong in this, you know, and that was a conversation. I thought, wow, I mean, she's really just laying it on the line. And so when you're going after your passion like this, what do you see coming up in the future for this?
Well,
because
you know, it's funny.
What I think baby steps right now. And so what's the next step?
Well, you know, the Feminine Badass Society, which was my brand kind of up until the fall of last year, is very much actually a part of this freedom piece that I talk about now. Because in order to become free, you really have to step into your truth. and you have to be bold, and you have to be badass. And by badass, I truly mean you have to not care about the naysayers. And I guess not care is a little bit strong, but I don't know what else to say. You have to just be able to say, I understand that you don't support me or you don't agree with what I'm doing, but I'm doing it because it's what's right for me. And for me, when women talk like that, when they can really stand in their truth and in their power, I see that as badass. But feminine badass is like, you don't forget your femininity. You don't forget your capacity to love. So you don't have to be a negative person to be badass. So to me, feminine badass is like complete feminine divine power. And then as I moved into kind of like the freedom piece, a little bit more around the freedom piece, I thought, you know, women need, what women are lacking that's not allowing them to have the freedom that they want is that badass piece where they can say, no, I mean no. When I mean no, I say no. And when I mean yes, I say yes. And listen to me. I want to be heard. I deserve to be heard. And I have value, you know? And that's a very powerful move forward for a lot of women. There are so many women who feel asphyxiated. They don't feel like they can say that because they're worried about being rejected. They're worried about the opinions of others, and they might lose people. And I always say, you're going to lose people. When you step into your freedom, part of you becoming free is losing the people that are holding you down. But at the time, it's so scary, right? So the feminine badass piece still plays into it, but it's a little bit more, it's actually more evolved now. Now it's like, you know, that's just one piece of the big picture. And I guess to answer your question, where I see myself going is truly the Uncommon Woman, which is a platform that I have created for women. And it's really a platform where women who have incredible stories of strength from struggle, or maybe they don't seem incredible, but there's an incredible lesson to be learned. I take those women and I say, listen, the world needs your message. The world needs to hear what you have to say. And I put them in front of the world. And sadly, so many women still sit behind a curtain, you know, because they're scared of the rejection. So they might write it and put anonymous, or they might say it, but they haven't shown their face. And I always say, you want to stand and be powerful? Stand up and say, here I am. You know, body, mind, and soul. Here's my face. Here's my story. Here's my truth. And here's the lesson that I can share with you that will possibly save your life or save your soul. And that's where I really see myself going over the next, you know, several years. It's such, talk about passionate. Like you can see, I get all excited. I literally lights me up. It's great. Yeah.
Well, so, and I do believe that we really need it because women are nurturers, and women, when they do this, they don't lose their femininity. And I think that's what we've lost right now is, you know, someone could call a stone a stone a stone, but it takes the feminine side to say, you know, that's such a pretty rock. Or, you know, you can say it in ways that are not so abrasive, but you can say these things because they need to be said. And yeah, sometimes the abrasive works, and that's where it's got to go. But I really like the fact that, yes, I think that's what we've lost. We are so afraid of what other people are going to think or leave you that we are not paying attention to the people who will be behind you.
Right.
When you're actually finding yourself.
100%. And, you know, women have an incredible gift of compassion and empathy. We have gifts that are special to women, just like men have gifts that are special to men. Not to say that men aren't compassionate and empathetic, because that's not what I'm saying, but women just have a special gift that's very feminine, right? And for us to not use that, for us to feel like we can't express that and be comfortable in that is really doing us it's not doing us any favors, and it's working against us. And we've been in such a masculine energy for so long, and there's been so much go, 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 and work, and fight, and competition, and rah. And that's been masculine. And all of the women are falling apart, and we're losing our sisterhood, and we're losing our focus, which is like, what does a divine feminine woman look like? A powerful divine feminine woman. What does she look like? You know, how does she sound? You know, who's around her? Where's she getting her power from? Who's she leading, right? And so bringing us back to center is really such a big piece of what I think we all need to collectively do globally, you know, as women. Yeah.
Well, and I love the fact that the internet is out now, because you can explore and you can see these strong women, and you can know that it's just not you. I mean, someone has probably gone through worse and come out the other side, and you know, when you're going through hell, keep going, because you'll get on that other side. And you've collected a lot of stories from these women.
Yes.
And I think that's amazing because if the first one doesn't resonate with you, the second one might. And because we all have different experiences and it's worldwide, like you said.
Right.
I mean, there's people all over the world experiencing this. And I was wondering if you have a story that you can tell.
I sure do. I have so many stories, but one story that always surfaces for me when I talk about the Uncommon Woman as a movement and as a project is a story of a girlfriend of mine who I met just a few years ago. And in 2014, April of 2014, her daughter was at a house party with some very close friends and was stabbed and killed in cold blood, along with 4 other children. And when I say children, they were in their early 20s. And her story always surfaces for me when I talk about the Uncommon Woman because she truly, 3 years later, is such an incredible beacon of light for other parents who have lost. I mean, her daughter was stabbed and murdered in cold blood at a party that was a small party, gathering of friends, but a friend of a friend came, and it so happens that he had mental illness and killed 5 of the children that were there, and completely unprovoked. And how do you deal with that as a parent? How do you come through that? How do you wake up every morning? How do you walk your next step? How do you eat? How do you breathe? How do you pray? How do you have faith? And she and I have become very close friends, and her story has literally, on my dark days, I always think of her, and I think, you know, she's keeping me off the ledge. You know, we all have dark times, right? We all have times where we struggle, and I always think of Shannon, and I think, if Shannon can get through what she went through, I can certainly get through this. And she is now, she has started a foundation in honor of her daughter, and she's now kind of a spokesperson for parents who have lost tragically. And this was an internationally known story across Canada, United States, because of the tragedy and, you know, the complete story itself was unbelievable, really. I mean, this just doesn't happen. You know, it was like a Charles Manson type situation. And she talks about the fact that, you know, she's been able to, yes, she still grieves every single day, but she has come out of that darkness that she was in, and she moves forward. And now her passion in life is to shine a light and to let other parents know that, yeah, you know, you lose and it's painful, but you can still live. You lose a certain part of your life that will never come back. But in doing so, you also have a newness about some of the things that you see differently, right?
Oh,
so
definitely.
she doesn't look at life the same anymore. And I asked her just the other day, actually, her interview is going to be up not next week, but the week after in the Uncommon Woman. I'm highlighting her. And, you know, she's become a different person. And I asked her in that interview, I said, are you a different person than you were before? And she said, yeah, I'm a better person. So, you know, there's nothing more I can say. Took a lot to come around to. And she works on it every day. And she struggles with it every day because of the tragedy and because of the pain of that loss. But in that story, there's such beauty. And she's starting to see that. And that's what the Uncommon Women movement is really about. So that somebody who hits play on that video at just the right time will hear her story and it'll save them.
Because I'm sheltered. I live in the States. I'm sheltered. I don't know what it's like to experience something like that. I don't know what it's like to experience war. Most of my loss was, you know, thank goodness I had the support, because I don't have the major tragic losses per se that I'm seeing with these women. But they don't all have to be the massives. They can all be, you know, a loss is a loss to you, and we're not going to measure them.
Right.
We're just going to help you get through them.
Right.
And so I'm amazed at I can't wait to see it.
Yeah, it's an incredible story. And I have more stories like that. I mean, the stories that the Uncommon Woman Project are literally putting out in front of the world are stories that are like, stop the bus, you know? And And I do that purposely because I want people to see that other people are experiencing extreme darkness. Like, we have a bad day because, like, we're having a snow day today in Thunder Bay. We've got like an inch of ice on our car, and it's crazy. We're having a massive ice storm. It's nothing compared to the pain that other people are experiencing at such a deep level. And, so really, do we have anything to be upset about today? In the big picture, like, it's just, there are people that are suffering all around us. The person in front of you at Starbucks, you have no idea the pain that they might be experiencing. And I want to put these stories out so that we learn to be compassionate with everybody, because Shannon is this beautiful 5'4" little sweet looking thing with a really soft voice. Looking at her in a line at Starbucks, you would have no idea the pain that she carries with her every day. And, to know that somebody like her, exists in your neighborhood, in your community, in your circle, you might not even know it. And so making sure that we're always coming from a place of love and always moving from a place of compassion and empathy is so important, whether we know their story or not. We just need to assume that everybody carries some kind of pain, right? So,
and more, it's their experience. And what's
right.
painful for me might not be painful for you, but it still should be dealt with and still should be approached with the compassion and the love. Because
right.
love is all we have when you look at it. It's all we've got, and it's healing, and it's nurturing. Yeah. And I love the whole concept of this, because you have your story and how you have changed and molded and taken the steps, one at a time. Yeah. Because I'm sure that there are lessons learned, and until you learn that lesson, you're going to have to learn it again and again till, okay, I get it. We've been knocked in the head a few. Yeah. And one time I was talking to a friend of mine, and I said, I'm seeing all these blackbirds and they're swooping at me. And he just laughed at me. He goes, don't you know what that means? And I said, not really. He goes, take your head out of your and look up and look out, because you're missing everything. They're swooping to make you look up. They're swooping to make you notice.
Oh, interesting.
And so I thought that was a really good concept. And that was something that he shared with me to make me feel better. Mm-hmm. And so when you say, oh, well, it's not just for women, it's really not, because, he saw a little insight, shared that with me, and I did. I felt so much better. I didn't realize that I was, looking down so much. Right. I did need to look up, and I did need to realize what's going on around me. And I think it's amazing that Shannon can look up at all.
Right. So do I.
People around her, and I hope that I can be one, is compassionate and supportive, because, wow, I mean, she's come a long way, and she has. I can hardly wait to see what happens later. Yeah. Because she'll inspire so many.
Oh, she's already inspiring so many, and she's, to me, a very big part of the Uncommon Women Project because of her passion and her drive to bring awareness to the fact that, first of all, we need to address these kinds of issues before they get out of hand. And then, how do we support people when they're experiencing such loss and pain? And she has so much knowledge about that because she's been there. And so she's really an advocate for, this kind of thing. And I just love it. And I just as a woman, as a mother, as a friend, she's an incredible soul, and she's just such a bright light. And all of the women that I interview with the Uncommon Woman Project, I call it a project because it's kind of a project right now, on this platform are those kinds of women. They're all women who've had extreme pain and loss, and they're coming out on the other side going, I'm here for other people. And to be able to give to that capacity when you're experiencing such pain yourself, or when you've been in such a dark place, to me is such a gift. And every time I have a conversation with these women, I learn and grow. And so I feel like so much of my own personal growth is really just the fact that I'm honored to be in their presence as they share their secrets to actually rising up from the ashes, right?
So how did you find some of these women? I think I remember you asking at one time for stories, but
well, I love to connect. I would say that my number one favorite thing to do is connect. So I spend a lot of time at events. I talk to everybody I know. When I sit down for coffee with somebody, one of the questions that I ask everybody is, so what's your story? And years ago, I was asking that. And as a result, people started opening up to me. So all of my clients at my gym, for example, hundreds of women over the years, when I've said to them, so what's your story? They've told me. And so it just became a bit of a skill, I guess. And it's something that interests me because I want to know what makes you tick. I don't want to talk about the weather. I want to know what makes you tick. I want to know why you're here. I want to know why you're struggling or what excites you or what, because as a personal trainer, when you're working on a transformation with somebody, targeting in on the things that they're passionate about is a really big piece of helping them succeed. And so I would have these conversations with people, tell me your story. And then of course that just continued. But now I actually will say, like, tell me your story because I want you to be part of something that's bigger than you or I. And so women incredibly are so open. Everybody wants to be heard. Everybody wants to be heard, and everybody wants somebody to say, I've got your back, or I'm with you, or I've had that happen too. It's so good to hear that I'm not the only one. Everybody wants that. And so what I'm doing is I'm just opening that up and saying, listen, if you have a story, I want to hear it. And of course, so many people have been referred to me as a result of the momentum, right? So when I talk to somebody, I'll say, if you know of anybody, well, of course, if you've been through anything tragic or painful, you know at least one person who has been through pain as well. And oh, I have this incredible friend who's gone through this crazy thing. Hook me up, set me up. So that's where I get that's honestly how I get the people. I mean, a lot of these people are people in my circle through my business and through the work I do, because I have my hand in so many pots, but they're also people that have been referred to me through the people that I've met over the years. So it's kind of just, it's just kind of like a big web, right?
Right.
So.
When I think of going after your passion, Marlo, I kind of think that one of it's compassion for you. And empowerment for these women, that you are giving them something that you hope will help.
Yes.
And so you going after your passion like this, I do have up on there your facebook.com, The Uncommon Woman. Where you can
thank you.
Contact me directly. And if you're seeing this on the replay, you aren't seeing this live, contact me, IM me. Put something on, go after your passion, and I will give you all the information that I can. We're also going to put it on YouTube. I'm giving it to Marlo so that she can post.
Yes, I will.
An explanation, just a conversation will go a long way.
Absolutely. Yes. Thank you so much. I mean, I appreciate you sharing, especially The Uncommon Woman. It's just a baby. It's just growing, and it's in the nurturing stages, and we're just, building that platform out. So the more people that go on there and just like that page and literally interact with the women who are sharing their stories, because of course these women are stepping forward in a massive way, to just be there and support them and just say, we've got your back as you share this with us is really great. So I appreciate that. Thank you.
Like the page, put a thumbs up, put the little hearts, Google, Facebook, love that. Let them know that you're there, because you'd be surprised if somebody is watching and maybe they're tearing up and it's really touching them and they see a heart go by. That's going to touch them even a little bit more.
That's right.
It's just in your way saying thank you. If you're seeing it on the replay, because I have to catch up. I didn't see any of them yet, so I'll have to catch up. And let them know you appreciate it. And I appreciate all of you guys who joined us today. Go after Passion Live. If you have ideas, let me know. And I'll pass it on to my guest, Reen, who I had 2 weeks ago, who is my author. I have Marlo here. I'll pass the information on. And I hope to have another very exciting, moving guest next week. I haven't decided who, so I have to probably put it in a hat and pull one.
There you
go. So that they can get on and share their story, just like you shared yours. Marlo, thank you. And
you're so welcome.
We'll be talking
Thank you
soon.
for having me. Blessings.
Bye-bye.
Bye.